Hello guys, what's up? I'm Foad, back after a long time with another video about programming. In today's video, we're gonna be solving a programming question, and if you don't know, I've been doing this series in which I solve programming questions, and in one of the videos that I've made a while back, I've solved like 2 programming questions, or you may want to call it challenge. So I've done 2 of them. Today is the third one, and we're gonna be doing that. So if you haven't watched the previous episode,
it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
And now, without further ado, let's dive right into it. Okay, so before we get into the actual program, let me show you what the question is. Alright, so here's the question. We are now in the third one, and it says, have the program create a random strong password mixing upper and lowercase symbols and numbers. The user can choose how long they want the password to be, and a strong password must contain a capital letter, number, a symbol. Alright, so we have to make a program that is gonna generate a strong password. Now, I'm gonna explain to you how we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna go to the code part. Alright, so first of all, we want the user to tell us how long the password is going to be. For example, let's say they say it's going to be like 5 letters long. Then we have a list of uppercase letters and lowercase letters, numbers and symbols, and we can choose from them at random. That's really important, at random, and fill these 5 letters with random letters and symbols from those lists. And that way we have a strong and random like a password. Now, as you have probably guessed, we're gonna use the random library, and that's basically the only library we're gonna use, and it's gonna be a good practice for that library as well. So that's basically the general idea about how we're gonna do this, and now it's time for programming. Okay, so first thing you wanna do is to open a file for yourself. As you can see, I've got mine, and it's called teaching. Now, the first step is gonna be to import the random library. And as I've told you, this is basically the main the core part of our project. Now, after importing the random library, we have to define the symbols, letters, and the numbers that we're gonna choose to make the password. Now, I know we can use the hex values for those letters and symbols, but I don't want to make it complicated. So we have to define them by ourselves. It's gonna be a little bit lengthy, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
So first I'm gonna define the numbers. We can say numbers. Wait, now that I'm thinking, we don't need to define the numbers. We're gonna just choose a random number between 1 and 9. And we're gonna just turn it into a string. We don't need to define it. Now we can use the characters. So characters is equal to, for example, A, comma, B, comma. And we have to do this for all the letters. I know it's a little bit hard, but it's gonna make it easier to understand, because we're gonna use the random library, and it might be the first time you're using it. So let's just do it this way. As I said, we can use the hex values, but it's gonna be a little bit complicated for people who have problem with mathematical skills. So we just have to define all the letters. So C, and I'm just gonna have to define all of these. Okay, so as you can see, I'm done defining. We have the letters A to Z here, and now we can choose, using the random library, choose some of the letters at random and use them. Now we have to define the uppercase layers. I know it's a little bit of pain, but it is what it is again.
It is what it is.
And for the bigger, the uppercase characters, I'm gonna just be like a 5-year-old and call them big characters. So big characters. Again, it's gonna be the same as the one above. So it's gonna look like something like this. We have all the letters A to Z, uppercase. Now we've got to define a bunch of symbols. Now in symbols, you can use as many symbols as you want, but I've chosen a bunch of them that are similar and familiar for us. So let me show them to you. So what I'm gonna say is symbols is similar to the other lists that we have. For example, @. Now we can use these to generate like a stronger and more random passwords. So I'm gonna just define the symbols that I want. So let's do that. Okay, so as you can see, I have my symbols here. We have these, I don't know some of the names of them, but as you can see, we have dash, we have like a random one here. You can make as many of these as you want, or you can just leave them as these. I just wanted to make something like this as well. All right, so now what we're gonna do is to ask the user how long they want the password to be. So we're gonna say length is equal to, and we're gonna use the function input, enter the length of password. There you go. Now the user is gonna input this, and remember we have to turn this into an integer, as when you input something from the user, it's gonna be in the string form, and we need to have the integer form to use it for our for loop and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna turn that into an int. Now we're good to go. All right, now we want to make the password variable. Now we don't want to put anything in it yet, so we're gonna say password is equal to these. Now nothing is in it, as you can see. That's why we haven't decided anything. All right, now the way that we're gonna choose some random characters and numbers and stuff like that is to first create a for loop that is gonna be like in the range of our length. So if we have like a password, we want it to be like 5 letters long, our for loop is gonna be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have like 5 opportunities to tweak things. And then I'm gonna use the random library. Now here's the like a little bit complicated part of this. I'm gonna choose a random number between 1 and 4. Now, depending on which number I get, I'm gonna use that set of characters. For example, if I get 1, I'm gonna use numbers. If I get 2, I'm gonna use characters. If I get 3, I'm gonna use symbols. You got the idea. And when we choose like what set we're gonna use, then we're gonna use the random library again to choose which one, like which letter or symbol in that set that we're gonna be using. For example, if we end up deciding to use the character set and that we have defined up here, we have to choose between all these letters at random which one we're gonna use. So that's the way we're gonna be doing this project. So let's go ahead and define the for loop. We say for x in range of our length -1. This -1 is to like make the for loop compatible with that. Now we say r is equal to, now here's how we use the random library. We say random dot, this is the important function, rand int, right? And we give the value 1 to 4. Oh, sorry. 1, if I can type, 1 to 4. Now what we're basically asking here is for the random library to give us a random integer between the value 1 and 4. And remember that 1 and 4 are counted as well. So if we say rand int 1 to 4, we're gonna get either 1, 2, 3, 4, and like that. So now we have a random number between 1 and 4. So if I wanna say it correctly, it's between 0 and 5. Then we go ahead and define the if statements to decide which set of characters we're gonna use. So if r is equal to 1, what is that equal? Is equal to 1, then let's go ahead and use, I don't know, the number character set. So for numbers, we have 0 up to 10, up to 9. So that's 9 characters. So we have to choose a random number between like -1 and 10, which is 0 to 9. So we're gonna say again a rand. This is just a name of a variable I just came with. So rand is equal to random dot rand int, the same as the one we had before, 0 and 9. Now this is gonna give us a number from 0 to 9 at random. That's really important. Now we go ahead and say password, right, is equal to password plus, all right, so here is the tricky part. We have a number from 0 to 9. Now this number is an integer. we need to make it a string or a character so that we can put it in our password. So I'm gonna say str, which is a function that turns integers into strings, str rand. And that should hopefully turn our random number from 0 to 9 into a string. And then we're gonna add that to our password. Now we have to repeat the same process for the other sets that we have. So I'm gonna say else if, or elif, as it's spelled in Python. R is equal to 2. We can use the rand variable, random dot rand int. Now this time I want to use the character set. So we have 24 characters and we need to choose a number from 0 to 24. There might be some problem with these range that we are choosing. If there was any, I'm gonna solve them later on. So again, password is equal to password. Now this time we have a list, so we can say which section of the list we want, which index we want. So in order to do that, we say characters, these little parentheses, and we use the rand number that we have just generated. There we go. Now we just keep doing this for the other sets that we have.
2 hours later.
And it's gonna end up looking something like this. Now the last step that is left is to print our password that we've created. So print password. And that's our project being done. Now it's time for debugging. What am I saying? Debugging and running it. So let me go ahead and open CMD. Okay, so I have CMD open here. I'm gonna say Python teaching.py. I'm gonna run it. It's asking me to enter the length of my password. Let's go with 6. And as you can see, it had created a random password for us. Now let's count the characters. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it wasn't 6. That means this number that we have subtracted from 1 was not right. So let me go ahead and run it again. That should have fixed the problem. Python teaching. Again, let's go with 6. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Now let's go ahead and run it again, and this time ask like a lengthier password. Let's say 15. Let's see what it comes with. Right, fair enough. It's a randomly generated password. That's kind of sus. It's not my fault, it's the computer doing it. And as you can see, it had created our password. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any idea, any comments, or anything like that, just let me know in the comment section below. And stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, because I'm gonna be uploading a lot of awesome videos about machine learning and different algorithms used for it, like logistic regression, gradient descent, and all those fun stuff. And that's pretty much it. If you have enjoyed, hit the like button. If you haven't, hit the dislike button. It's fair enough. And subscribe. Have a nice day.